Hello and welcome back, everyone. I am pleased to report that we have returned from our little hiatus and we have brought some new faces with us who you will all get to know in just a moment. Uh, First off, I want to talk a little bit about Witches of Midnight. Witches of Midnight is a game that, as many of you know, we have been running on our channel for almost 2 years, and we've been playtesting it privately before that for about 3 or 4 months before. So this game has been pretty well tested, loved, and lived in. But we wanted to invite some new players who I have there on either side of me that are gonna learn as we go and see how easy or difficult it is for them to get into the game. So, without any further ado, the word I just learned how to say properly a few hours ago. That let's start by introducing who we are and what characters we're playing. I'm gonna start down in the corner with Andrea.
Yeah, I'm Andrea. I am going to be playing Sabina today. She is a short, pale green, red-haired gob who is an eclectic witch. Let's see. Her familiar is a chicken named Belina, who is very curious, and they're both very curious, and they work very well together for that reason. Yeah, that's Sabina.
All right, let's come up to Darius.
I'm Darius. I will be playing Xander Vossen. He is a uh, sort of tall, really slim banker by day, and does witchcraft. His familiar is a turtle named Belle,
Oh,
and he is he's kind of like a thinker. He's an intellectual person. It's Belle who does a lot of the heavy lifting. Don't ask
mm-mm.
how. And he is a crossroad Median.
Awesome. Iza.
Hi, I'm Issa, and I'll be playing Asha Barlow, a 1920s detective, with her bloodhound companion.
Ooh,
Ooh.
nice. And Reverend Whiteheart.
I am Reverend. Today I will be playing Bellamy Chaucer. They are a androgynous flower who takes care of their community through the opening of a florist. Uh, they are big on encouraging people to try new things and are often on the cusp of trying new things themselves. Um, their familiar is a Roosevelt's elk named Mouse.
Ooh.
Wow.
Um,
I
I am
assume
playing
Roosevelt
a
elks are pretty big.
I
They
literally looked up what is the biggest elk. Um, so I wanted
It's an elk. It's
an
large.
it's an elk. It's a
Yeah,
large elk.
exactly.
Um, his name is Moose. Um, but Bellamy is a empath grimoire. Uh, their heritage is also Gob, but it mostly shows in long pointed nails and longer, pointier ears.
Hmm.
They have like a tan summer skin, long dark brown hair, and are generally just ambiguous.
Yeah, love that. As to do a lot of the people who are here through Morningstar. Yeah, so the setup for this session is that over the last several months on a social media app that is not immediately accessible to a lot of the wild witches here at the table, there have been these strange viral posts that have been going around where mundane children and young adults are trying out these challenges, and when they're successful, they're able to pull off some magic tricks that almost rival the powers that a 13-year-old witch might learn. But it's really unusual to see mundanes pulling off anything like that. And so, for various reasons, this entire group, who doesn't know each other at this point, have all congregated around the most recent mysterious death that seems to be correlated with these unusual powers. So, the scene is in the middle of midnight, just off the southwest side of Central Park. There's a neighborhood there of single-story buildings, and near a basketball court, there seems to be a huge amount of commotion. The Obsidian Council, which is the mundane law enforcement faction, is out in full force in an extremely unusual fashion. And you all, through various methods, some of you working in the area and some of you possibly just passing through, notice that it's a really unusual assortment of both mundane police and there are also Red Watch soldiers looking on. And that means potentially bad times for anyone using wild magic here. But they seem to be taking a less active role. So let's jump to Sabina, who has found their way through a couple layers of Obsidian Council tape that they've taped off some sidewalks. And you're relatively close, but they've set up a tent to cover whatever the main attraction is here. So you're close, but you're only seeing little bits of what's inside as people enter or exit the tent. So,
Okay.
what are you doing?
I guess I would probably start with my grimoire senses to see. Let's see. Where are my grimoire senses? I can't
Those
find
are
it.
at the top of page 2 of the Grimoire sheet for
Gotcha.
anybody that's following along.
Yeah, no, everything feels weird. Um, yeah, I guess I would start looking to see if there are any like actual magic resonances and what they might be, and see if there are any other witches in the area that might be looking around the same way I am.
Cool. What does that look like when you are casting the short ritual that allows you to sense other witches in the area?
Um, it kind of looks like nervous fidgeting. She
Okay.
has this necklace that she wears that she is always kind of playing with, chewing on, all that good kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you find a spot, sort of just back up into the crowd like Homer into the bush. And so you give yourself a little bit of distance between you and the Red Watch that are around, and hold on to your necklace, and you start, looking around into the crowd?
Yeah, into the
Okay.
crowd, trying to see. I probably can't see like the chalk outline, spot,
Yeah,
but
it's inside the tent.
okay.
Okay, what do you think would be a good action for that? Especially since
Um,
you're also looking at resonance, which is a little bit outside of the purview of your
yeah.
grimoire
I would
sense.
probably go with focus
Okay.
since I am going to be trying to focus my magic and brain on finding the
Okay.
pattern.
Yeah, you can make a controlled standard effect. That would be an action roll.
Where did the dice rolling channel go?
Dice rolling. Here, I'll type here in it. There you go. It should light up for you.
Mhm.
Should just
Nope,
be
I don't
directly
see it.
above
I know.
our.
Oh, okay. Jeez, I am slow today. We took way too much time off.
It's okay. I'm sure you won't be the only person that can't find the dice rolling chat.
Ugh. It disappeared.
It does
All
happen.
right. Okay, that's a complete success. So you see um, 4 witches' resonance that stand out to you amongst the crowd. You see an empath, a crossroads, and what is Asha?
A storm witch.
And a storm.
Storm.
Nice. And you also see a 4th, but right as you pick up and sort of tune in on them, they turn a corner and they're gone. So there was a 4th witch that was looking on.
Okay.
But yeah, the other 3 are, well, let's just jump to them and they can tell us what they're doing. So Darius, do you want to tell us what Xander is up to in this crowd?
Xander is basically just trying to like shoulder his way through, trying to get like a better look at like whatever it is that's going on. He's whispering at his turtle a bunch. It's just sitting there on his shoulder. He's just like, whenever there's an opening, just go for it. And just basically just trying to figure out like, is there a way in? Is there a way around all this heat so I can figure out what's going on?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so well, there are people in the crowd that are they don't seem to pick up that you're a witch immediately because you're dressed so aren't you dressed like a business person?
Yeah, he basically he dresses like he just got off shift. So he has like his tie loosened up. It's just draping there. He has his sleeves rolled up. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the mundanes around you just assume you're one of them until they get an eyeball on the turtle on your shoulder, and then they're like, "Oh, he's just a little lost." But yeah, so people start like giving you way, and you find it relatively easy to sort of shoulder your way through the crowd. You got that nice pauldron up there to if you need to shoulder anything too hard. Yeah,
It's a defense mechanism, yeah.
Yeah. You end up making your way right up to the taped off area, at which any further movement would definitely be called out by Obsidian Council. You see about 20 Obsidian Council members of varying ranks. Only a few of them are like wearing any kind of armor, sort of like really slate gray helmets, like military police helmets, but not much else. And that's just a few of them. The rest really look like pencil pushers, and yeah, it seems like an extremely odd assortment of cops. Yeah. Reverend Whiteheart, what is Bellamy up to?
Bellamy's aware, at the very least, through rumors and people coming to their florist shop for comfort, that there have been attacks. And while they've been worried, there's not a lot that a florist can do about that type of a thing. So they're going through the crowd and just trying to get a feel for how everyone is feeling, the emotions. There's probably a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry,
Yeah.
and so wandering through the crowd, they're going to lessen that with just like a shoulder touch here, and with their other hand kind of almost on their waist behind, tracing sigils with their index finger almost behind their back, to just kind of lessen the anxiety and the fear in people, and generally just kind of calm things down so that emotions don't get too high.
Yeah.
Generally, just making sure that everyone's all right.
Awesome. Yeah. You immediately sense there's a real mix. There's a huge amount of variation in the crowd. A lot of people are curious. Not a lot of people seem angry until you get out to like the periphery where people are trying to make their way through this area because maybe it's on their footpath. But yeah, other than that, it seems to be a lot of curiosity, um, including inside of the tent. You can feel that sort of emanating out. Um, One of the people that stands out to you is Asha because they're curious, sure. But Asha, do you want to describe what emotions are going through your character right now, and what she's doing?
Mostly Ashley is feeling intrigued because she probably was actually secretly brought here by her contact, a
Mm.
sergeant in the Onyx Council. So she's trying to find something she can find the residents of and look into their past with her psychometry.
Ooh, something you can hold in your hand. Yeah, the rest of you find yourselves kind of have that you have kind of moved into the same general area. Um, Sabina, at this point, they're all close enough that if you wanted to try to find out why they're there, you could probably get their attention. You are the most unusual looking person here, followed quickly by Bellamy. But Asha and Xander look not that out of place.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, being curious the way she is, she'd probably go towards Asha first
Okay.
and just yeah. So, hey, what you doing here? You know, kind of a very excitable but kind.
I'm gonna say Bellamy is close enough that he's able to hear the conversation because he was kind of tuned into Asha already. All right, but
Well,
go
you
ahead.
see, kids dropping like flies is not exactly good for the economy, so I'm here to see what's happening and stop it.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to hurt the economy. That would be terrible. So I'm gonna, since I have Gremlin Bane, I'm gonna assume that I can have like a phone.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So when you say challenges, my brain automatically went to TikTok challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try to find videos of the other kids doing the challenges to like try to figure out specifically what they're, and I'll just start flipping through all of them and just showing them to
Okay.
anybody who will look at them.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
It's so weird.
Okay, you just spend the essence for that power, and
Okay.
then let's do a fortune roll because it's unexpected that anything particularly bad would happen to you while you're swiping
Yeah,
through some kind of app on
sure.
your phone. Yeah, you pull it out of its like Faraday cage that you keep it in.
That I keep it in, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one essence. And how many fortune dice am I rolling?
Based on however you want to. I think let's just do since you're an eclectic, let's do 3 fortune dice, which
Okay.
is pretty high. But I think that's because you know what hashtag to look for,
Okay.
and so that makes it relatively easy.
I know all the hashtags.
Uh-oh, the dice roller has fallen asleep again.
Uh,
There we go. Try to keep that up on the screen so I can notice when it goes to sleep. All right, one more time, and that's a fortune roll. So
okay. Oh, so
exclamation
yeah,
point
on the end.
3F. Perfect. All right. So you have a partial success, but this is more on the gather info side, and there aren't going to be any negative side effects. So you notice a new contingent of forces rolling in. A Red Watch hovercraft descends down onto a nearby building, and within the time that it takes you to sort of scroll through this in front of Asha, you notice that a small squad, about 4 deep, of Red Watch soldiers who are wearing a bit more combat armor, although they look almost medieval, carrying swords on one hip and stun batons on the other hip, as they come down and they join the Obsidian Council and are deliberating. And there's a little bit of yelling, and you hear that Red Watch is taking over the investigation. And so they kind of butt heads for a few minutes, but you're busy scrolling through. And I'm going to say on a partial success, the name of the challenge that you find, do you have an idea of what you'd want, what you think it should be called? Let's see,
No.
how about the
The Magic Tide Pod Challenge.
Magic Tide Pod Challenge? They're eating the Tide Pods and getting magic powers.
Yeah.
Sounds like something that would happen, yeah.
All right.
Sounds like something kids would try.
Yeah, Magic Tide Challenge it is. So yes, Tide Pods factor in somehow. Yeah,
It's
you
not
end
entirely clear. Every challenge is a little different, but
everybody seems to have understood the rules a little differently from the next. So yeah, while Asha and Sabina are watching these videos, what are Xander and Bellamy doing? Any of you interested in getting closer to that, or possibly trying to do something else?
you mentioned that like a bunch of them had like grouped around each other, right?
Yeah.
So I guess at that point, Xander would, seeing as a bunch of like the magic cops, I guess, that now that they're like in a square, he's gonna see if there's like any a place in a corner somewhere that he can kind of seclude himself to.
Okay.
The end goal of this, he is going to try a liminal jaunt
Okay.
and basically kind of jump from wherever that is to inside the tent if he can.
Gotcha. So you saw the Red Watch. They came out of that building that's the tent kind of backs up to. If you're lucky and there's another door that leads directly into the tent from the outside there, then yeah, all you need to do is find another door to that building, and you should be able to jaunt from one doorway to another and find yourself in there.
Okay.
But I think it's going to take an actual attempt. But you're able to find another door without any difficulty just by going around the side. And you're actually completely out of the crowd by that point.
Okay. And it would require an actual, so I would just, well, what would I roll for that again?
Yeah. You get to choose the action from the 12 on your grimoire sheet. But let's see. Pull it up real quick. I think since you're possibly going to have to look through an entire building of doors to try to find the right one, I think survey would make a lot of sense. Survey is when you're taking in a lot of information and trying to distill that down into something really useful to you.
Okay.
So I think that or possibly focus could work. But I think survey makes a little bit more sense in that situation. Study could even work, potentially. or target?
I think we could go for survey.
Okay. And I'm going to say that is controlled position. Basically, that means that there's nobody around you right now. You're able to do this in relative quiet and sort of at your own pace. So it really minimizes the risk of there being complications. And I'm going to say, because you've got this power, I'm going to say it's standard effect. So you should have a pretty good chance of being successful.
Okay.
So, how many dice is that?
So I have one marked.
Okay.
So that is.
So there are a couple of different ways that you could get some extra dice.
Mhm.
One of them is to take a Fey bargain. Let me go ahead and put that in chat. Bargain can be suggested by the Lore Weaver or any of the other players. If you accept one, you get an extra die on your roll, which gives you a better chance of succeeding. But you have to take a negative. The negative happens regardless of how well you roll. So it's something you enter into that not so lightly. However, you're in a controlled position, so things are generally pretty mild.
Or you can spend willpower to get an extra die as well.
Yes, you can spend 2 willpower to get +1 die, or to raise your effect from standard to extreme effect, which means that you'd find it much, much faster if you succeed, rather than potentially having to go through 50 doors or something.
Right. For curiosity's sake, what would the negative be in this case?
Let's see. I think something that would make sense would be that one of the Red Watch soldiers, not one of the ones that's in there arguing, but one of the ones that's been kind of around the periphery, might see you teleport through the doorway, and just sort of make a mental note. Okay, we're gonna watch that guy. Because
Guy
it's
can
not
teleport.
illegal, you're not using wild magic, but it is a little suspicious.
Mm.
So that would add fate, which means that eventually you would become infamous in that regard.
So would I be able to do would I be able to spend the willpower and do the bargain?
You can, but the only thing they can't do is they can't both give you +1 die. So as long as they do different things, so if you went +1 die and increased effect, you could get both.
Okay. I think I'll just go for the +1 die, and I guess
Okay.
I'll just spend the willpower for it.
Okay. All right.
It was
So nobody's gonna see you by default. Still could happen.
I could still fail.
Yeah,
but
because there's a fail. All right, so that's
But-
just exclamation point and then the current number of dice. So in your case, that would be 2. And did that show up on the screen? No, hang on. Went onto the wrong screen.
suspense.
Suspense.
Yeah, I didn't see my fortune roll either.
Sorry about that. There we go. All right. That is a complete success. So what that means is you step into that doorway and you are bye-bye. You end up sort of just your eyeballs emerge for a split second in a couple of doorways before you find this exit-only door that is just open wide enough that you're able to fully rematerialize into that doorway. And when you do, you are not in the tent, but you are between the tent wall and the doorway. So they've blocked an emergency exit, basically, to erect this tent. You'd still have to climb under it to get in, but you're there.
Cool.
Right. And what about Bellamy?
Given that right next to me is this kind of detective-y type who's concerned with it, she's going to lean in and just kind of insert herself into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, excuse me, sweetie. You
Yes.
appear to be interested in what's going on. I understand that there may be something inside that tent you'd like to see.
Yes.
I believe that I can get you inside.
Really?
Well, maybe, but wouldn't it be interesting to try?
Yes, absolutely.
I have to
Very
pause
well.
for just one moment to thank Vice. Vice just gifted 5 subs.
Nice.
So
Thank
we will not
you.
go hungry tonight. I have so many subs to eat.
Wonderful.
We
Well,
getting
that's not how that
McDonald's
works.
tonight. Let's go.
Damn it. Thank you so much, Vice. And thank you for introducing us to Darius.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Cool. So many new people there. Izza, you got one too.
Yay!
Very cool. And Rebecca Dementia. Awesome. Cersei Citrus 97, Moondragon Art, and Chaz Poggy. I hope to meet all of you very, very soon.
That,
All
that
right.
requires spinny cats.
Yes, spinning cats in chat for sure. All right.
So how do we go about getting in this tent?
Well, let's just say for the time being, I'm supposed to be there, and you're supposed to be with me,
Okay.
shall we? And I would like to use my Majestic Presence ability.
Oh.
And I am going to, I guess, I want to make myself important
Mm-hmm.
that I'm supposed to be there. I want everyone to look at me as if, oh, finally,
Yeah, yeah.
they're here. Now
Awesome.
we can get things done. And I'm just walking in with my retinue of people that help me do
Right.
my things. And then I'm just going to walk up to whoever is at the edge, and
Yeah.
basically just I want them to let me in. I want them
Yeah.
to let me and my investigators in.
Okay.
And I'm just taking the both of them with me because they were both talking about
Yeah.
it.
I think that makes perfect sense. If you're in a position of authority, yeah, you should be able to bring your retinue in with you. Okay, so we have some choices here because you're going to need to boost that spell to
Okay.
affect more people. Unless you wanted to sort of use it on like one person, like try to figure out who is really in charge here and that be the person you focus on. Or do you
Mhm.
want to just literally do it to everybody that's inside the tape, or maybe even the whole crowd? That's up to you. The more people you do, the more you're going to possibly reduce future consequences. But it's completely up to you. So your power works on one person by default. For an extra essence, it'll work on a small group. For 2 extra essence, it'll work on a medium sized group, which is up to 12 people. That should get everybody in the taped off area. But if you wanted to go
And
for the whole crowd, that would be 6 additional essence.
Could I assist by using Daedalus Gift and pulling basically a psychic paper charm out of my butt and here you go, you have a badge now?
Yeah, you could do that as a setup action for that for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, Reverend, do you want to hang back on that plan until Sabina makes the charm for you?
It should be super good.
yeah, sure,
Okay.
that's fine.
Hang on, I've got exactly the right thing. You reach into their
It's
back
in the
pocket.
bag somewhere.
All right. So for you, that's going to cost 3
Yeah.
essence, and I'm going to say that's going to be a setup effect that is going to give increased effect to anything Bellamy does with regards to pretending to be the person in charge. A hype train has just
Bring on the
started.
choo-choo.
Woo, 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 as they say.
Stormraven.
Thank you all so much. And I'm sorry that the wrong sponsorship message keeps playing. But every time it plays, I'm going to put our Kickstarter link into chat because that's what's
Yeah.
supposed to be there. Awesome. Our level 2 hype train is 83% of the way to being a... Oh, never mind. It's now a different hype train level. Whatever that means. Thank you, it's Kekilia.
Yeah,
Awesome
like
to see you
trains. I don't
again.
know.
Thank you for being a great player and lore weaver with us in the past. We hope to see a game with you running again soon. Okay, so it's going to cost you 3 essence, Sabina, to do that, or
Yeah.
you can. Well, let's do the essence because we're not going to
Yeah.
have downtime activities this time.
Yeah, no, we're fine.
All right. What do you want to use as your primary component?
Um,
I'm pulling
gonna
up a
go with-
list if that's helpful. Do you go with do you prefer crystals, herbs, or other things?
she's probably a little bit of all of it, but
Yeah.
she's.
Eclectic.
I'm gonna go with this. This sounds more like a sigil on a piece of paper type thing.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I would assume this is something that you've probably done before for yourself.
Yeah, I've got like a little spiral notebook, one of the little tiny ones.
Yeah.
And I'll just draw the sigil on there, tear the paper out, and hand it to him.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, just make a crafting roll.
Okay. Grip. Okay, I'm gonna spend some willpower and give myself an extra die,
Okay.
just to be for sure.
Okay. And that is 1 pip away from being a critical, or an ace, as we call them now.
An ace. It's an ace now.
All right. So that is a complete success. So that means you get
A very convincing badge.
an 8-tick clock that Bellamy can use to convince people. So you hand that off to Bellamy?
Yeah.
All right.
Gotcha. They take it a look at it and go, "Oh, you've made me so flattering."
First, when you look at it, it says Sabina and like all these really wonderful things about her credentials. But then, as soon as you grasp a hold of the paper and Sabina says a couple more words, it all shifts, and then it's all about you. And it
Naturally.
mentions your florist shop, and but only to you, the things you're most proud of. But you know that as you show it to other people, it's gonna show them what they expect to see.
Gotcha.
All right. So, how do you want to handle your majesty?
In that case, with a fancy identification card, I think I'm still gonna go ahead and also use the Majestic Presence,
Yeah.
just to stack them up on top of each other.
For sure.
I'm going to want to affect everyone in the tent. I
Okay.
don't so much care about the crowd. I know that I already look amazing enough that the crowd is like, "Who's that?" But the officials are the ones that I actually want to move towards believing me.
Okay. That's gonna
and
add
I
3 essence to your power.
okay. Does that make it 4 or does that make it 6?
I'm not sure what the base of that power is, if it's 1 or 3.
Well, Majestic Presence, I'll just read it word for word.
Okay.
It says 3 essence.
Ah.
Mundanes you meet perceive you in a positive way, player's choice. Weak-willed individuals will not approach. Important NPCs will not act directly against you. Take +1d to command when inspiring hope.
Okay. Yeah, so that's gonna be 6.
Okay.
The good thing about running out of essence is you can continue to cast until the cows come home, but you will
tricky.
suffer from additional effects from having to pull that magic out of the world and into yourself so that you can redirect it.
Yeah, I understand that I'm doing something that is bigger than just dealing with plants. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so you're going to need to convince them. So whatever you think is the most appropriate action for that.
Because I'm really trying to convince them to like let me in, but not from a intimidation aspect.
Right.
It's one of those like, oh, I'm so glad that you're here, and now I'm here, and be so grateful if you could just let me in so that I can do my job. I would like to sway whoever is, I guess, checking IDs at the door.
Fantastic. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
So,
That makes sense to me. I am going to say that is going to be risky and greater effect thanks to the setup action of having that magical ID. It's going to cost you 1 tick off of that charm every time you use it. So you have 8 until that runs out of magic. But for now, it's only going to cost you 1 tick on that. And you can make
Okay.
an action roll.
all right. And you said that it is risky.
Yeah.
Um, 2 questions.
Can I?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
Okay. So can I give him a +1 die with the assist?
Okay. How are you going to assist?
So, seeing as how I'm a detective and I
Yeah.
am kind of known by the Onyx Council, I know how to present myself, and I'm also going to have my detective badge out and in the
Okay.
open.
Yeah, awesome. That will put you on the hook if there are any repercussions along with him, but it will give him +1 die. Now, to Reverend, I think you had some questions too.
That was one of them.
Oh, okay. To give you an idea of what risky means, it's controlled position, risky position, desperate position. Risky is sort of the medium. It's a slightly, it's more risky than controlled, but it's not as bad as desperate. Characters don't tend to take massive damage from a risky action, but it tends to step you toward the harder actions.
Gotcha. So what the second question I was going to ask is what would the consequences be if I don't succeed and they catch me trying to get into a controlled environment?
Yeah, that could look like a number of things. What's most likely is that Obsidian Council would kick you out and possibly try to take some information on you. But yeah, that's probably about the worst of it. Nobody's going to probably try to harm you physically for something like that.
Gotcha. All right. So what do I need to roll?
There'd be exclamation point, and then the number of dots you have for sway, and then 1 extra for Asha's help.
Okay, and then any words after that?
Nope. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, so that is called a fail. Anything 3 and under. If your highest die is a 3 or lower. So
There's no such thing as a failure, but it's an ace for 3 threes.
3 6s, yes. 3 threes, that's like the best you can do and still get the worst effect. Okay.
Is there any way, because I understand that there's a mechanic for I really think I should have succeeded at this.
There are a few that are grimoire specific. Cosmic grimoires are able to show you what bad thing might have happened and then pull it back and make it a success. There are a few other abilities that are similar to that. But I don't think from having read over your characters that any of you have that. But what you do have access to is called Tempting the Fates. And that allows you to sort of go back in time and have prepared certain things. so that you can have a positive effect later. Let me go ahead and lay out what negative things are going to happen. First off, as soon as the two of you step inside the taped off area, because you bypass sort of the gatekeeper without any difficulty whatsoever, and so they let you in and immediately close off the way behind you, so leaving Sabina stranded, and Xander is off on the other side in a much better position than any of you. And the two of you walk in, and immediately you are heading toward Obsidian Council because they're going to be the easier group to sway, and they're more of what Asha has worked with in the past. But as soon as you step up, sort of sidestep the argument that's going on and show your card, the Obsidian Council is overwhelmed by excitedness of you being there. But when one of the Red Watch grabs the paper out of their hand and turns it on themselves, it becomes just the sigil again. And when they see that, they immediately sort of form a line blocking the two of you from the opening of the tent. And they're immediately chiding the Obsidian Council for being such fools. Now, any of those elements of that you can resist. So, if there's like a particular thing like that they took the piece of paper out of your hand and you want to resist that, that's something that you can do. So, however you want to handle that.
I
And
think
Ash is
that
involved too, so they can resist as well.
I have an idea then. I'd like to roll Insight Resist and basically see this sort of altercation happening just by how I read people. And then basically when he goes to reach for the fake badge, I'm going to remind him that this is, what did I name my contact? This is Sergeant Monroe's investigation, and until the lines are actually drawn, he cannot interfere with Onyx Council since they are a higher tier, or since they are a bigger faction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about Bellamy?
given that when he was handed the card itself, they saw the details change
Yeah.
from Sabine to Bellamy and all of the stuff. It would be more of a like flash and do this and then like actually secure it.
Okay.
So I don't think that they would be waving it around and handing it over to
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. That sounds like an insight resist for you and a resolve resist for Asha. And I think with both of those things together, of you kind of separating the two groups and each of you handling them separately and resisting those effects, I'd say that pretty much would wipe out all of the negative effects. You just probably have to find another method afterward. So yeah, you guys can both roll resistance rolls. That'd be exclamation point, the number associated with that attribute, and then the letter R.
Fun.
For Asha, that is a maximum expenditure of willpower. That's going to cost you 3 willpower to resist. So it is not graceful, but it is successful. And for Bellamy, that's also going to cost you 3 willpower. So, but the two of you are able to pull all that off without any difficulty. The card never leaves Bellamy's hands, and Asha now has the other group pushed aside. And that's when you feel like, okay, now my spell seems to have fully gone off. because the sort of lights in everybody's eyes have started to sort of dull, and they're all looking at you in a very particular way that you were used to once your Majesty is going.
Gotcha.
And they sidestep the two of you and sort of let you move forward past them, and they immediately go back to arguing with each other.
So we have made it past on the inside, and we can kind of perceive as to what's going on.
Yeah, you are standing in front of the tent door from the front, whereas Xander is standing behind the tent, hearing all the commotion from the other side. What do you want to do?
I guess Xander would wait for the commotion to kind of die down, like just thinking to himself, like, someone got caught, and then waits for all that to die down before finally just peeking through the thing to make sure the coast is clear and just heading through, trying to see what he can find and
Okay.
investigate, basically.
I think there are enough people in there that are sort of looking around different directions, even though they're busy. That it's probably going to require an action roll. I could see Prowl working really well. I could see Study sort of listening to all the sounds, trying to figure out when more people are facing away from you, so you can kind of get under there and get a good look in and see what's going on. It's really up to you how you want to do that action-wise.
Study would probably be best for that.
Okay, awesome, yeah. I like that. That tells us something about your character and the way he sees things and thinks about situations before going in. That's cool. All right.
Hey, the turtle does all the fighting. He's the brains of the operation.
Oh no.
Ah.
Okay. So you poke your head under and just try to get one eyeball under there after you think things have calmed down well enough. And you see that there's an Obsidian Council guard literally sitting facing away from the outside of the tent. So they're probably supposed to be watching the door of the tent, but they're not. They're half asleep, and your turtle sort of slides off your shoulder onto the ground, onto its back. And that sound is enough to sort of startle him awake, and he looks down and sees a single eyeball poking out and a turtle on its back, and he jumps up from his seat and starts yelling, "We're being infiltrated by a turtle!" So, yeah. He immediately runs over and tries to grab the turtle. So
Xander is not allowing that. He will protect that. He will protect Bell with his life.
Right.
Well, he basically, I think he would reveal himself at this point.
Okay.
Just feel like, no, calm. There's no infiltration. There's no turtle. You're asleep. It's fine.
You're seeing
fine. Things. You're seeing things. You're drunk. It's whatever.
Okay. That sounds probably like a sway, although maybe it's a consort. Maybe you've actually seen this guy drinking at a local bar around here, and you're like really trying to be like, dude, I know you. You know?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it could be either or. I think I'll go for. Yeah, I think I'll go for consort.
Okay.
And I think I'll spend another 2 willpower to get an extra die for that.
Is this happening in full view of the rest of us?
That's a good question.
No, you guys haven't made it in through the tent flap yet while this is going on, but you do hear kind of the commotion and you hear you hear Xander talking. So,
well,
yeah.
I'm important and I'm supposed to be there, so That's true. I go inside in order to see what's going on in my crime scene?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think you could throw him an assist for a willpower.
Yeah, I just want to go in and see. Do I recognize him as a witch in this moment?
Um, well, Sabina definitely would, but she's the furthest from this all.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha. Then I'm just gonna go in, and because we've already lied to everyone
right.
officially involved, can I just use my Grimoire ability, Emotion Control, to calm down the guy?
Yeah, that
And
sounds
just be like,
fantastic.
I see someone who's crawling under the flaps of the tent,
Yeah.
and they've got a turtle, and they're saying, "Hey, calm down, you're asleep." And I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, you're calm,
That's my
you're
people.
chilled, you're fine."
Okay, yeah, awesome.
Right.
So rather than using the spell, you can just we'll call that an assist. So that
Mhm.
only costs you one willpower, and it gives Xander an extra die. So
Okay.
that can give you back your 2 willpower.
Nice.
If you still want to push yourself for 2 willpower, you can give yourself increased effect.
So just putting all that together, how many
Yeah.
die is that for me right now?
Right now, what's your consort?
It is 1.
Okay, so right now you're looking at 2 dice
So 2 dice.
without you spending any willpower.
And increased effect in this case would be like,
Convince more people. Just convince them to let you do more or stay longer. Oftentimes people will be like, "Yeah, you can stay, but only until my boss gets here, and then you got to leave." Stuff like that. It might be better in those regards.
if I push for it and can get a group of people to like believe me, like everyone in the surrounding area, can I get them to be hostile against this guy?
Oh, against Bellamy who just came in.
No, no, not Bellamy. No,
Oh, okay.
Against the guard.
the guard. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, I see. So don't
yeah,
confront the guard. Confront everybody else about the
Well, you're
guard.
not supposed to be here.
yeah. Now that the guard is calm, Xander's just gonna very quickly. It is an infiltration. He stole a uniform. Get him.
Ah, I gotcha. Okay,
And
that sounds more like a sway than a consort. Then
okay, make that a swear.
when you're lying directly to people to get them to do what you want.
You're
That is fair.
lying.
That is completely fair.
Do you still have a die for that?
Yes, I do. So it
Awesome.
would still be
Two.
3 overall with the willpower, right?
You can only get +1 die from one source. So,
So plus one
since
die and
Hmm,
increase effect.
yeah,
My bad, my bad. Okay.
yep, no
So
problem.
still just 2.
2. Yep. Oh, and our dice bot went to sleep again.
It's asleep.
It it was
Yeah.
so good for so long, and then they changed the way these run, and now it goes to sleep every 30 minutes. It sucks.
They ruin it.
All right, so sorry. Roll that 2 dice again. All right, and it went to the wrong window. There we go. All right, that's a complete success. So I'm gonna let you describe what that looks like, Xander.
Okay. Yeah, as the guard calms down, Xander scoops Bell back up and really just miffed that this guy tried to reach for Bell, you know? Just this is my turtle, don't you do that? He just very quickly, this guy's an imposter! Just kind of hoping the heat of the moment and everyone just bum rush, tackle him to the ground, and then Xander could just back away from that
Yeah,
and then keep going.
yeah. That all plays out exactly like that. And at that point, the 3 of you are all inside the tent, and it's like a melee between the rest of them as they put the cuffs on the Obsidian Council member who had fallen asleep on the job, and Frog march him out. And that Sabina, at this point, you see that the tent is empty except for the 3 people that you spotted earlier. And there's a
Okay.
decent amount of commotion out there.
With the tent
I kind
completely
of
open. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was thinking that I would do a prowl around to the backside of the tent that Xander just went in and kind of try to go in that way. So I'll be small and quiet and nobody will see me.
Okay. I'm gonna say risky reduced effect
Okay.
because there are so many people out here. The way Xander went in was, magical, and got him past a lot of other onlookers.
Gotcha.
Whereas the way you're doing it is going to be quite a bit more
Yeah.
difficult.
I have
Hmm.
another idea.
Yeah.
I can have you like hide with or ride on my bloodhound. Since I have been seen with bloodhound on many occasions, it's just part of me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm willing to try to hang on to a bloodhound. Don't fall off. Yeah. Hmm.
So still coming in through the back?
No, however,
I think Roscoe would just come into the front.
I could barely hear you, sorry.
I think Roscoe would just come into the front.
Okay. So just scoop her up and carry her through?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright, yeah, well, then I think that's going to be Asha's role, probably.
okay.
And maybe finesse roll from Sabina to see how well you're able to hang on.
Okay.
So I'm
Let's
thinking
start with Asha. You're controlling your familiar.
a spring roll and
Sounds good. I'm gonna say
Thank you.
risky standard.
Risky standard. It'll be fun gameplay. We'll just roll it like that.
Did the dice bot go back to sleep that fast?
No,
Ridiculous.
not allowed.
F in chat.
Oh. Apparently I closed the entire window.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I was just doing all the dice rolls.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I can't help it.
So many.
There we go.
Oh, that was the one?
No.
no, that's Xander's.
Yeah, that was from a while back. Okay. Okay. The dice bot is awake. Sorry about that. Seems to be falling asleep for Izza every time. Oh! Okay. So, I think
Now it's
what this
cranky.
looks like is Sabina doesn't see the dog coming up from behind her at first, and it runs right under her crotch to try to pick her up and carry her in. But your foot gets sort of wrapped around its back leg, and then as you're being pulled toward the tape line, you get clotheslined by it. And the dog continues on into the tent without you.
If I tried.
You can choose to resist that. I think it would have to be Asha that does the resist, though, because that was Asha's familiar that caused it.
Can I argue an insight resist for like being able to plan where I'm wanting to go?
What kind of resist?
An insight resist?
Yeah, I think insight makes the most sense.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Oh, that's a nice one. Amount of dice, anyway. Okay. It's gonna cost you 1 willpower to resist.
I can know that. Okay.
All right. So what does that look like?
So I'm calling Roscoe, and then I realize at the last second, wait, he probably doesn't have the right finesse to like go under her legs, and so I quickly take over and maneuver his head properly, and slowly enough where Sabina can can catch on to what's happening.
Okay. All right. You still notice that there's going to be an obstacle of the tape line, which is obviously a little bit more significant than just regular police tape. So
So
you're
I
going to
have an
need some
idea
way
for
to either
that.
get under or over that. Sabina, do you want to take charge of that?
Yeah, I was thinking about my flexible spell work.
Oh,
And I assume that can affect my own physical person.
yeah.
Okay, so my Fey pact guy is a Doulahan.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe I do some flexible spell work and my head is not really a problem.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Very cool. Wow. That's a really good use of a Dullahan's powers. Yeah.
This
Okay.
was
What
not
do you
the
want to
headless
roll for
horseman I
that?
remember.
A goblin on
Alrighty,
a
so
gluttony.
I'm gonna go
I think
with that as a focus roll
yeah.
to
Normally
do
it's
the
focus.
gotcha. And let's see, the flexible spell work is 1 essence, so I'll mark that, and then I'll do a focus roll.
Now,
And I'm very
one thing to keep in mind is that is going to end your Gremlin Bane.
that's fine. I don't need to scroll on TikTok
Okay.
anymore. I'll be alright. I can live. I'm gonna do willpower to get myself an extra die because I'm
Okay.
scared. So that gives me 3 for focus. Come on, dice roller.
Okay.
Covered
3
Bob's not
dice.
asleep.
Partial success. So
Okay.
you see for a split second off in the distance behind the tape line, you see your Dullahan just sort of flicker into existence for a moment and points at you. And as he does, his horse rears back and he vanishes again. And you feel your whole body just covered in Fey magic. And you notice that your head is kind of
He's got to crack that spine whip.
your head feels like it's like slipping off of your neck, and you reach up and grab it and pull it down to your chest and glide right under the tape line and come flying into the tent, just narrowly missing all the people that are exiting.
And then plop my head right back on my
Yeah.
shoulders.
And it reattaches relatively quickly. You're only messing with it for about 3 more minutes before you get it on just right.
So that also costs me Fey Pact tick,
does,
is that
yeah.
correct? Okay.
Awesome.
And Xander's just watching her readjust her head like that. Like I imagine you just sit there with like just the blankest little.
I think for the partial success, though, your cell phone got a full blast of your magic while it was outside of its Faraday bag.
Sure.
And so when you finally skid to a stop, you lift up your hand with your cell phone in it, and you see it's just completely glitching out. It doesn't seem to be working anymore.
Gotcha.
Again, you can resist that.
No, that's acceptable.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for the what you were doing. All right. So the 4 of you are in there. You can smell death in the room with you. As the last few Obsidian Council people leave the room. And they all sort of check in with Bellamy, just sort of giving him a nod or, checking out the paper and stuff like that as they all make their way past. And one of them pats you on the shoulder and is like, can you handle this while we're out for a minute taking care of this vile fiend?
Oh, don't you worry, sweetings. Everything is completely in control. Ta.
One of them whispers in your ear, I wouldn't get too close to it, though. And he kind of holds his nose as he walks out.
Don't you worry. I'll take care of myself.
All right, so now you can see the chalk outline in the middle of this tent that would be on the sidewalk if it weren't inside this tent. Well, it's on the sidewalk, but you're inside
not
the
on the
tent.
open.
Completely cut off from all the commotion outside, which is nice. And you see what looks like an older teenager, maybe early 20s person, all decked out with cell phones, and they've even got a relatively nice camera that's set up on a tripod nearby. And you see that they don't look harmed in any way, other than the fact that there is a gaping hole in their chest, and their heart appears to be missing.
But besides that,
Besides that, they look pretty fantastic. A nice color to the face. Right. And I think
Well,
with
that
that, we're going to
breaks my
take a
heart.
quick little break.
Cool.
So we will be back in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to Balsamic Games, our one-shot mystery in which the player characters are covered in chickens. Wait, no. That's just Andrea. Which they are trying to
Player
solve...
character, singular, is covered in chickens.
They're trying to solve a mystery about kids doing a social media challenge in which they somehow gain mystical powers, but some of them have been turning up dead. And they are currently mid-investigation as the 4 of them have infiltrated a tent set up by the Obsidian Council to monitor this heartless corpse that is laying on the sidewalk near them. Who do you have with you there, Andrea?
This is Rex.
The big one?
No, it's Rex.
Okay.
They're all little hens. And then this one, this tiny one that doesn't want to get in front of the camera. Her name is Sprite because she looks like a soot sprite.
Thank you, Chicken Tender.
Let me see if I can get her. Can you see her?
Yeah, you can see her little face. Awesome. Thank you for sharing your friends with us.
Sorry,
want
I'm in love
100
with my
of them.
chickens. I didn't know how much I was going to love them, but I love them so much.
Just beware the chicken meth. Call it good.
Chicken what?
Chicken meth.
What's that?
Chicken meth, yes, it does seem like that.
So chicken meth is where you get one bird, but then you want another, and then you get a third one, and then hey, what if you get one of those crawler chickens, and then you get the big chickens? It's a thing on TikTok. It's hilarious.
Yeah, well, she's been doing the chicken meth. Yeah, it's been bad. I thought you said chicken meth. And I was like, that does sound worse.
I was like, they are kind of addictive. So
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to buy them 4 at a time from our tractor stores. So I went and got 4, and then I was like, you know what? I need more than 4. So we have 8.
That have winter layers and spring layers.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently. All right. So you all look over at the corpse on the sidewalk. He appears to be a male, like I said, late teenager or early adult. And there's a camera set up nearby that seems like it's possibly been recording the entire time. But yeah, you're currently all alone in here with the victim.
I have no idea.
I heard a Kamehameha.
We all started talking.
Like all 4 of us, like, I have a plan.
Everybody has an idea. Everybody's so
Mine was
creative.
just to basically dismiss the character. Bellamy said that she was going to get everybody in, and that's exactly what he did. And just kind of goes, well, this isn't exactly what I was hoping to find, but I suppose bad news is still news. Well,
Yeah, and you're in a perfect position to sort of guard the door with your charm card in front of you.
so that's what I'm going to go and do. I'm going to post up and be like, all right, I'll give you as much time as I can.
Nice. All right. What about the other 3 of you?
Xander is probably gonna pick up the cam. Well, he can't use the camera, can he?
I mean, you might be able to get it to do. You might be able to get it to work for you a bit. It's the more dire the situation, the more likely it is to fail. So right now, when you're in a moderately controlled position, is probably one of the best times to make that attempt. Your character wouldn't know that Sabina has some powers that let her work with technology yet, but.
Yeah, he still doesn't really know these people, but no, he is gonna immediately reach for the camera.
I forgot that you just kind of like poked in. You're like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be here, and then 3 other people who do not look like they're supposed to be there were like, yeah, we are
One of
too.
them was headless, and then I imagine he just saw all of them just run in and just like, yeah, so this is happening, but there's a body over there. I gotta stay focused.
Yeah, I forgot. It's the 4 of you, a very large dog, and a turtle.
Yeah.
In here right now. So yeah,
It's a party. Yeah.
And
But I can
noticing a
tell
fourth
he's a witch, correct?
Oh yeah, he's one of the four people you spotted
Yes.
earlier.
And I
He's
will
not the
just,
one that ran around the corner on you. That was
Yeah.
someone else.
I'll just tell everybody that he's good, and that they don't need to worry
He's good people.
because they just met me, and
You just
I
put your
look
head
pretty
back on.
trustworthy.
If they should be scared of anybody, it's probably you with your headless horsemanship. Headless dog riding.
Bellamy's up for weird stuff.
Nice. All right. Well, in that case, Xander, I think possibly a focus roll would make sense in this particular situation, to just try to make this happen in the way you intend. So, what are you trying to do? Review the footage?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. I'm going to say controlled standard if it's a focus roll, but if you want to go a different route, feel free.
Could it technically be a study?
Yeah, sure could.
Yeah.
I'm going to say if you aren't making an attempt to sort of lower your magic field and sort of like when you meditate with focus, you tend to like minimize the sort of shockwaves that happen to electronics when you interact with them. But I think if you kind of have an idea what you're doing and you're like, okay, I can study this thing, I can figure out how to do it, you might be able to do it so fast that it doesn't even matter that you're not, bringing it down. So I think either could work, yeah.
Solid. I think I'll try that.
Okay. Let's say I'm gonna say it's risky standard rather than controlled because your magic field and that of your friends that are around you might have a way of interacting.
Mm. Let's hope it doesn't go bad.
One die. Hey, it's a partial success. Yeah, you go back through the camera roll, and yeah, you see there's a video, and it's like 3 hours long. But you go ahead and sort of skip back through a few more, and you're actually able to track down a brownstone building that's an apartment building that's about 3 blocks away. And you see as you're skipping through these pictures that almost all of the pictures seem to be centered around that area of town. And so you have a pretty good idea of where their base of operations is likely. But as soon as you go back to that video and hit play, it immediately starts glitching out, probably due to magical fluctuations. It doesn't seem like you're doing any like permanent damage to the camera, but it certainly doesn't seem to want to play properly for you.
I'm gonna take out my Faraday bag thing, open it, and hold it up to you, and just be like, just put it in there. We'll take care of it later.
Then it just jumps a little like, oh, hi. Oh, hey.
She
Ew.
dismounts the dog.
Bag.
No, I just make so many blocks, and so I just keep riding the dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Bubby.
Until Asha tells you, get off my dog. You will stay on the dog. Okay.
Xander does reach to put the camera in the bag, but he does look at Sabina and just friendly?
Yes.
She did just vouch for you a second ago,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I just came in here. There was a corpse over there. When things get crazy, I gotta focus on things. I'm sorry. Hello, I'm Xander. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I am Sabina. Now, let's go and check out this corpse.
You see that someone has already gone through his pockets and laid everything out within the sort of chalk area. So you're seeing an ID, you're seeing some like college registration paperwork, stuff like that. And you're seeing a couple of pieces of paper that have sigils on them that you don't immediately recognize. They
Okay.
have laid out on the floor.
I would like to see the events directly for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use two different powers.
Okay.
One of which is my Grimoire power Purification,
Okay.
which is surrounding an item with a pure element that I can generate that it can withstand, which in this case, electricity, because why not?
Okay.
And it's basically going to purify it for a setup action towards psychometry,
Okay.
which is a gather information roll to see what has been going on in an emotional past.
Fantastic. Okay. Pay the essence costs, and yeah, you run. So you sort of hold the paper in your hand and just let electricity run through it from one hand to the other. It kind of scorches the paper, but not bad enough that you can't read what's on it still. But yeah, you're able to. You feel it's got kind of a dark resonance to it, and as soon as you do that for a few seconds, you can kind of feel that resonance lift, and it seems to be in a state at which you're probably not going to have as many problems with psychometry, depending on what type of creature helped make that. Having not purified it first could have led to some dangerous circumstances. So yeah, you feel a little bit safer going in with psychometry, but you will have to continue to touch it.
So I think. Can I argue a target because I'm targeting a specific memory?
Oh sure. What are you targeting in particular?
I want to target basically the moment of activation.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I like that. Let's say risky standard.
Okay.
Or actually, it's gonna be increased effect because of the purification. So risky greater effect. You'll probably get some extra information out of this.
I'll take it. And it's gather. Oh,
Hey, that is a complete fail. So, I feel like when you grab a hold of it and you start to concentrate on it, you realize that you're scarring the field around that piece of paper. Seems to have actually damaged its memory. And so when you try to reach in emotionally down into that sigil, you find that it's basically blank. However, it's not the only sigil on paper there. There are others. So it's going to waste both of the essence uses.
well, damn, I tried.
Yeah, there are still two other different sigils on paper on the ground near the wallet.
See, I'm thinking we steal all the evidence and go and look at it when we have a little more time
Mm,
and we White is in a risky position. Pick everything up.
abscond.
Yeah.
That probably would be the
Xander
smartest
knows a
move.
door.
But yeah.
Easy out.
It's like, I really appreciate that grand entrance, but like the back door is right there. That works for me. Oh, but whatever y'all want to do, I'm just saying.
I am definitely happy to go through the door.
Xander, I think you're also picking up something. Your grimoire sense allows you to sense where the borders between worlds are thin, and you feel like there is a border here very near the body that is extremely thin. So a grand use of your grimoire sense might give you an idea of what realm it's connected to.
Okay.
If you wanted to spend a little more time here, which time is probably getting short.
Have
What
I
would
been ticking on the clock for the ID card at all?
No, you haven't had to show it to anybody else yet, luckily.
Okay.
like knowing what realm is near here, what would I glean from that?
So there are at least 4 realms that at different times of the year sort of get closer and further away from the physical reality. Right now, it's the summer solstice, so it would be the shadow world, where mythical creatures live, would be generally the closest. So you might figure out whether it's, instead of being closer to that, it's closer to the underworld, where there might be demons and spirits and things like that. Or you might learn that it's a thin border between the astral and the real world, which might tell you that there are high concepts at play here, rather than necessarily eldritch or demonic entities.
I think it wouldn't take too long to like learn that, right?
Nope, it's a short ritual that you would
Yeah.
cast.
Xander might at least give it a shot just to get a better idea of what's going on, and then like relay that to the party, and then just after I finish though, we got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you like to use for that roll? For that action?
mm, could I use survey for it?
Yeah, I think so. Sort of walking around the room and getting a feel for different areas and sort of, yeah. Yeah, I could see that. That
Just
works.
doing jazz hands at random objects. Like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Love it. All right. Yeah, that would be survey roll. Let's say that is risky standard.
Okay. Yeah, let's give the one dice roll another shot, see if it goes well.
You got a 50-50 chance. Now, unless the
Dice spot.
Unless it sleeps
has
again.
fallen asleep. Okay.
Maybe that's an omen.
You should be able to roll now.
Alright.
All right. That is a complete success on one die. How nice.
No
Okay.
risk paid off.
Yeah.
You feel
Incredible.
subtle variations as you move through the room, but as soon as you face the body, you can feel there is a strong underworld connection. And
What?
now, that could be partially because it is a corpse. And it still might be close to whatever metaphysical thing would normally be attached to it. So it's possible that its spirit is still nearby, or it's possible that something else from the underworld sort of used this as a doorway.
Is it bad that Fall Out Boys were going down just went through my head?
Say it again?
Is it wrong that Fall Out Boys were going down just went through my head?
Yes, it's always wrong when any Fallout Boy is
Extremely.
going through your head.
It's extremely wrong.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Well, I'm glad we're split 50-50. Wait, there's no way to do that with 5 people. I've had a problem with
yeah.
Fallout Boy ever since they covered a Joy Division song. Badly.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, Xander's gonna I guess just basically relay all of that and tell them about the building that should be 3 blocks away, and then just so a lot of it doesn't really make sense, but we don't really have time to think about it, so
Yep. Bellamy, you start to hear more people coming up from outside, and they're questioning each other about, why they left the room without any guards present and stuff like that. Do you know that
Other people
shit's
are
about to
arguing,
hit the
we
fan?
left it with an important person. Like, sweetings, I think we might be running out of time.
Yeah, let's take that back door.
All right.
Xander's just moving towards it like
The turtle's like, I'm already there.
Turtle beat us there. Turtle's
Yeah.
halfway there already.
All right. Yeah, the 4 of you duck under the tent and in through that back door, and you are in an entirely unfamiliar building, but it doesn't take you too long to find your way back out into an uncrowded street. Now, as we were talking about flashbacks earlier, if you need to flash back to this scene that we just finished at any point, you can do that. It costs Coven Fate, which basically adds to the infamy of the Coven. It means the Fates, like the three sisters that are the Fates, are paying attention to what's going on with your characters more and more as you continue to rack those up. So
is that designed to be something that is just important, or is that a penalty?
It is a penalty that you can use downtime actions to recover from. So the worse your infamy gets, the more likely other factions are to interrupt things that you're doing and try to stop you as your infamy goes up. Same with your Fey Pacts. The more Fey Pacts you take, the more the Fey are paying attention to what you're doing and might interact with you in a generally negative way.
It's the Fae. It's generally negative.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So feel free to jump back to this scene if you realize, oh, we should have done XYZ or whatever. Maybe we could have found out this earlier if we would have, whatever. So you never have to worry about, oh, we left too many stones unturned at that point, because you can always flash back and re-overturn that stone. All right. Okay, so you guys are heading to the brownstone that you saw on the pictures?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Xander has no problem navigating you all over there. And when you get there, it looks exactly like it did in the pictures, except there is a moderately washed away chalk body outline on the ground near that building as well.
So,
and you can
we
see
can
kind of a faint bit of blood on the ground that didn't get washed away appropriately either.
So we can just glean that this was the site of one of the previous attacks.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna need to spend another essence and get my Gremlin Bane back and see what's on this camera.
Okay.
Okay.
What does that look like when you use Gremlin Bane?
Probably, since everything is focused around this amulet that I'm wearing,
Yeah.
I probably pick it up and press it to my forehead and I'm just let me see, and put it back.
Nice. Yeah, and you guys can kind of feel her energy, her vibration levels kind of go down to like this real stable level. And she pulls the
thankful.
camera out of the Faraday bag and starts flipping back through it. Forgot. All right. I don't think we'll need a roll for that since Xander already found exactly the right video. You go scrubbing back through it, and it looks like the camera was just set up, hit record, and then he went in front of the camera and started doing magic tricks for passerbys, probably to edit these together and make a post within the next few days. The first 3 tricks go off without any kind of unusual things happening. And let's see, what kind of trick is he doing?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's like telekinesis. So
Okay.
he's like telling people like, I know your wallet's in your back pocket. I can see the bulge, but I'm the only one here. And he holds up his hands, and their wallet just pops right out of their back pocket, and rains change on their head or something like that. Everybody laughs, and he gives them back their wallet, and they leave. So, after 3 times, it's gone off without a hitch. It's the same trick every time. It's not going to be that much fun for anybody to watch. But the third time, he raises his hands, and nothing happens. And he sort of says a little, very, very poorly done Latin. He obviously doesn't know Latin, but he speaks a little bit of Latin very poorly, and raises his hands again, and nothing happens. And on the third time, when he raises his hands, his whole body goes up into the air, and he just starts levitating upward. He gets up about his own body length high, and then a gush of blood sprays near the camera, and he falls backwards to the ground. And sadly, most of that happened off camera. So you saw the splash of blood and him levitating upward, and then him hitting the ground again, but you didn't see much else. And then it's just people rushing up to his body, checking his vitals, saying he's dead, and then all of the authorities arriving. And then about 2 hours of the authorities being there and being dumbfounded.
Oh, this is like his is it a camera or like
Yeah.
a phone, or
It was a
it's just
camera on a tripod.
camera?
Xander
Okay.
popped it off the tripod and took the camera.
It's real high tech for a kid.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like I sell cameras that can do that at my work in this world. So imagine in a higher tech.
Yeah. It wasn't about the techness. It was about they're a child, and how can they afford things, and like I
was
wanted
so
it to be a phone so I could go into his accounts and look at stuff.
Yeah, it's not a phone, it's just a camera.
Okay. Did he have a phone? Do I need to
Not that you
flashback
guys
to take his
saw on
phone?
him while you were in there.
Can I flashback and get a phone?
We don't really need to. It was one of the first things they took off his body, and they did not leave it.
Okay.
So either the Obsidian Council or Red Watch have it.
Okay. But we have his name, correct? 'Cause we
Yes, it
took
was
his
on
ID.
his ID.
Okay.
Who wants to name him?
Jake.
Bueller.
Jake Bueller. There we go.
Jake Bueller. From State Farm.
Jake Bueller from State.
I don't know. I like maybe his name should be Jordan Peterson, because he killed himself trying to do magic that he can't do. Anywho.
Yeah, but if it's Jordan Peterson, I'm not going to want to find out.
Yeah, who killed him?
We're just gonna go home.
You're like, oh,
Good
thank you
riddance.
for your service.
Anyway.
Oh no. Anyway,
I think Xander's gonna take another look at I think Xander's just gonna head towards the building itself.
Mhm.
Because all the pictures were of it. Is there anything he can, from the outside? Is there anything he can see through windows?
Yeah.
Through the door? Does it look like
the mailboxes on the left-hand side all have the family names of the people who live there, and one of them is Bueller. 302 is the number on the sign, but the door is locked. There's a little bit of foot traffic out here, but nobody seems to be giving you guys any real trouble.
Can I liminal jaunt into the building, into the house, and unlock the door?
You would need to find a door that's already open that you can use. There's probably all of you can fly, so if you wanted to go to the back, that might be a better place to find an open door. or unlocked door.
Let's just
Yeah.
go check all the windows.
With the windows.
It shouldn't if you wanted to get into apartment 302 from the outside, it shouldn't be that difficult to figure out which one it is if you were in the air. Be drawing a
Yeah.
bit more attention to yourselves.
Bellamy hears this discussion and goes, "Have we considered just knocking on the door?"
There's an intercom system.
I'll
If
push
there's
the
someone inside,
If we
And-
can buzz 302, I am a detective.
Hmm.
Right.
and
Just-
Bellamy pulls out their little, fake card and be like,
True. Detective, assistant, detective's dog, assistant's turtle.
button.
Xander's just like, fair enough. I just like passing through walls, right? Sorry.
It is pretty
That
fun.
is an awesome power.
and it's definitely something that we can do if no one's home.
Yeah, we
Very
can.
real possibility.
So another thing Xander could do with Liminal Jaunt is you could go into liminal space, flip reality 45 degrees, and walk up the side of the building to get up to the roof. Or the right windows or anything like that. And you would be in another world, so you would be effectively invisible to the real world. I think that cost
Yeah.
you like 2 essence to do. Or
That
maybe
sounds like
3.
fun. Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You said 2 essence?
I think it's 2 to get up there, and then a third one to get back.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Xander's like, sounds like a plan. Then he just snaps invisible.
All right. Yeah. So Xander walks into the alley and then vanishes into the shadows, and then the next time you see him, he's pushing the window up from the fire escape and has access to 302.
Or we could do that.
He just calls
Show
down,
off.
what is the point of these powers if we're not using them, man?
Fair enough. And
Xander, you can
there's-
smell sulfur coming from inside the window.
Ooh.
Okay, that's less encouraging.
And now you're like, I wish they were all up here with me.
Maybe doing this on my own wasn't the smartest move. While they're working their way up here, I guess. Do I just survey the place, see where it's coming from?
Sure, yeah. How are the other 3 of you getting up there? Do you want to try the
Well,
door?
now I'm gonna ring the doorbell.
I mean, you're potentially creating a distraction for Xander.
Exactly. I'm helping.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you ring the intercom incessantly, and eventually, after a couple minutes, someone comes down, and they don't even make direct eye contact with you. They just hold open the door, and then they go back in 102 and just disappear.
So friendly. I love that.
All right, so Xander, you have a few minutes to do what you will as the other 3 are coming up. Survey,
I
you
think
said?
I think actually in response to Xander saying, "Why don't we use these powers?" Bellamy would kind of think for a little bit and go, "Fair enough," and then just kind of use her cloak of flight and just kind of up to the window.
Okay. All right. So the other 2 of you are down there, and Bellamy and as Xander's heading in, Bellamy is working their way up. All right. So, survey. What are you trying to find? What are you looking for?
The source of the sulfur smell.
Okay.
That would be a nice start.
Awesome.
And assuming that's, like, I guess after that, any, I guess just any trace of uh, what could have attacked Jake Bueller.
Sure.
Any kind of way to make some headway in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, the sulfur seems to smell, at least, seems to be coming from everywhere and nowhere in particular. But you do notice that it seems to be closer to the floor than to the ceiling. So you kind of get down, and there is a big circular rug in the middle of what looks like a teenager's bedroom. Uh, Posters on the wall and unmade bed, and that kind of thing. The rug looks completely out of place. It looks like he just maybe thrifted a rug or found one on the street and just brought it up here. But as soon as you see it, you're like, the smell's coming from under the rug.
Xander kind of kneels next to it and then pauses a second and then looks at Bellamy like, Bellamy, you feeling brave?
Yeah.
Only all the time, shall we?
All right. As you peel back the rug, you see that there is a sulfur circle under it. It is very similar to the sigil that Asha used electricity to damage. Except this one is sulfur that has been burned into the floor. So it's literally like embedded into the wood of the floor. And the circle is about 6 feet wide. You all are careful not to get inside of it when you're moving the rug.
Yeah, this is a summoning circle if I've ever seen one. And I don't know if I've ever seen one.
I don't know what to do now. I know that this is bad.
That's
We-
first one.
Do
Yeah.
you two want to wait for the other two to come up?
Yeah. I think that's what I was gonna say. Xander I think the other two might be a better authority on this. I don't know.
If you're gonna let them in through the front door, you're gonna have to make your way through this apartment. I can't be sure if anybody else is here.
True. Yeah. All right. Well,
maybe let us ring the doorbell first. And that way, if anybody comes to the door, you'll know there's somebody in the apartment.
Based on the fact that oh gosh, what was his name? Jake. Based on the fact that Jake was murdered,
we could call it that.
Would any kind of parents or roommates be feeling any particular way strongly enough that I could pick it up, even from the other room?
Oh,
That's
who's
interesting.
breathing?
Yeah, just sort of reaching out for high emotions or anything like that.
Looking for grief or anger or sadness, anything that you would expect from someone who's just gone through this traumatic experience involving the loss of someone close to them.
Yeah,
I think that would at least put out some kind of an emotion that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give that to you because I think that's perfect. You're looking around for anything like that. You feel something coming from a couple floors away, like a couple floors above you, that matches that, but it's just a flat line on the, at least in this apartment, it seems like. So it's probably clear.
What Xander sees is Bellamy just kind of closes his eyes and raises up a long pointed nail and just, well, either there's no one left in the apartment or no one cares about Jake. It's probably the first one. I think we're alone.
It's midnight. It could be in either.
That's when you hear the doorbell ring. And you wait about 30 seconds and nobody comes to answer it.
Shall I get the door? And they're gonna just kind of prance through. Is there like a peephole?
Yeah. Xander, as you're there, you're kind of getting your eyes on this sigil and this sulfur circle that you guys have thrown the rug off of. And you start to see that in the center, it's either still burning or it has started to burn again.
Oh.
Oh dear.
You can
Uh-huh.
see some smoke coming from the center, and the smell gets thicker.
Now, Bellamy, I would never try to like order you around or anyone around. That's not really my vibe. But if you could move faster with the other two, that would be great.
When I look through the people, is it them who's ringing the doorbell?
Yep, it sure is. Well, all you see is Asha because Sabina's so short. But yeah.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna like pull the door open and be like, "Welcome to my home. We're short on time.
Yeah,
Enter,
this
please."
once the doors open and there's some light shining into this living room, this is absolutely a college age hangout slash dorm slash roommate situation, and apparently 3 p.m. in the day is when nobody is here because aside from a pretty rancid looking bong on the coffee table, it's just dirty. It doesn't seem like it's been in active use for a little while.
I'm going to rule of blah what we know about the sulfur circle, so that they're informed coming into the apartment.
Yeah. And
Well,
yeah,
then.
you hear Xander making increasingly worried noises as
His
now
voice just gets a little bit higher pitched every single time. Like, just,
what
the
was
fire's getting a lot bigger. I'm just saying.
yeah, as what was just a little ember in the center, it started becoming like a circle that is moving outward amongst the rest of the sigil. We're going to start a clock called Circle Activates, and we're going to give that a 1 out of a 6. So as you guys take negative consequences, that circle is going to activate further. When it gets to 6, it is going to complete activation. All right. What are you doing?
Well, I have two opposing thoughts. One, let's see what comes out, and two, let's stop it from ever crying. Someone
Tell you
talk sense
what.
to me.
Tell you what. We'll try to stop it from coming out, and if we fail, we'll see what comes out.
Then you can befriend it.
Then we can figure out.
All right, I am going to combine my energy control and elemental projection to make a devastating electric attack to
Okay.
disrupt the circle itself, to blow
Okay.
the sulfur away, to destroy the sigils. I'm not playing around.
Okay. Awesome. You
Can
do
I use
see
the camera to
potential
take a
for
picture of the circle first before we blow it up? Just so we know what it looks like before it's gone.
yeah,
Okay.
an arcanist would be best for just a picture? I gotcha.
Yeah, I just want to take a picture.
Okay. I was gonna say if you're looking for its resonance, that would be an
No, I'm
arcanist.
just taking a
but yeah.
picture.
Gotcha.
I'm
Okay.
gonna reverse image search.
Yeah, you snap a flurry of pictures, and then when you go back through the camera roll, the sigil itself does not show up on the camera.
This is some demon shit.
No.
I'm always like, is it Fae or is it demons? It's one of the two.
It could be eldritch entities from the far reaches of the astral plane, but yeah.
I kind of consider them just old Fae.
Yeah. That is a good way of thinking about them. Okay. But yeah, you take a few pictures, and that takes a few moments. But yeah, now Now, Asha, you want to do your plan?
Okay, so
Is this a mix between purification and energy control?
energy control and elemental projection.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay, so
using
you're
the-
just trying to destroy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so it's 1 essence for the elemental projection, and the energy control is 2 to 4. So draw electricity to electrocute target precisely. I think pulling from the main frame of the house would
Yeah.
supply me with enough.
Yeah.
How much essence would that be? Because it says 2 to 4.
I think with it should say if you're using the power from like electrical lines, which one that is. Oh,
Let
it's
me
in
look
the
at the rule
book, not
book.
the. It's not in
No worries,
the
I've got it open.
on the sheet.
See, elemental control. Clear air
I'm
from a
almost
clear
there.
air day. It's 4 essence, 2 essences from a storm, overhead power lines, or powerful machine or generator.
Home outlets is 3 essence.
3 essence.
Yeah.
So that's a 4 total. And then I get the plus die and effects, right?
Yep.
Cool.
So let's go risky extreme effect.
Yee. We make spark go boom.
Oh, I'm in the wrong. I was in. Okay, 3 dice. You have a partial success. I think what this looks like is the energy seems to be deflected by the outer parts of the circle, and you end up etching a second circle around the sigil. However, it has etched so deeply that despite the fact that the circle itself hasn't been destroyed or disrupted yet, if that part were to crack and fall through the floor, the physical effect of it falling into the floor below it might be enough to destroy it. But right now, it has not. It needs a little bit of a push, which might mean somebody needing to step into the circle or something like that.
I'll jump up and down in the middle of it.
You'll have to get into it, and you might be affected by it if you get inside.
I'm aware.
And I'm going to do circle activates is now at 2 out of 6.
Okay.
You're willing?
I'm jumping.
Okay.
Going for it, nice.
got your
What
back.
would you like to use? Yeah.
I don't know how good I'm gonna be at jumping.
Ring?
I guess I'm gonna do willpower and get a die in that.
Okay. You can roll 0 dice. I know she doesn't want to, but if you have an action that's at 0, you can do exclamation point 0. It's going to roll 2 dice and take the lower of those 2.
Gotcha.
Let's see
Like
if I
rolling
can
with
jump.
disadvantage. And that's a 2.
Oh,
so
okay.
I
What
think
if I fall into the circle? Will it still knock it out?
as soon
I'll
as
just
you
face
land,
plant into this next floor.
yeah, as soon as you land inside of the circle, you feel energy reaching up through your feet and into your body, and your head snaps back and your mouth opens as wide as it possibly can. And being a gob, that's pretty dang far.
Yeah, it's a big mouth.
And you feel a whirlwind starting to reach down from the ceiling, and it's like creating a funnel where something is being pulled down from the ceiling and into your mouth. It is currently invisible.
Oh man, nobody else can see it. I just
No, you guys can all see the whirlwind.
Okay.
You can't see what it is that's coming down.
Okay.
Something is coming down from the ceiling,
Yeah.
not coming up from the floor.
Correct.
If one of you guys could catch it before it gets into my mouth, I would appreciate it.
I give you $5.
Well, it is invisible, but could one of us be able to just grab Sabina and I push her out of the circle, pull her out of the way, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think you would definitely be subjecting yourself to the same fate potentially. But that's called a protect action, where you basically say, I'm going to jump in, push the other person out of the way, and try to get out of the way myself. Then you'll be resisting the whatever is about to happen to Sabina. So you can do that. That costs you 1 willpower.
Plus 1 willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you'll be
the goal.
resisting with resolve.
Keeping the demons out. Too bad Hollis isn't
Yeah, I
here.
was gonna say. Hollis was always excited to get possessed, but Sabina not quite as much.
So, what would I be rolling for this one? Would it be?
It would be your resolve attribute. So that should be, I think, the top one.
Yeah.
And that's based on the number of dots you have filled in on that first row.
So that would be 2, and it's a resistance, so I put an R after
Yep.
it.
And it's going to cost you 1 willpower to do that protection.
Got that. Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's see how well. That is going to cost you 1 willpower additional to resist. But I guess with your, are you also playing a gob? No, that's
Me?
Melanie who's the gob. Okay, yeah. So you are able to push Sabina out of the circle, and you find this otherworldly pressure is holding you now to the center of the circle. But when your head gets tilted back and forced up, it seems to be unable to get into you. It's still trying, and it's still holding you in the middle of the circle, but it hasn't got you yet. Whereas it would have got to Sabina if she was there and didn't resist. And the circle continues to grow, but it is now at 4 out of 6. So it's about 2/3 of the way burned toward the outside. Cool.
How's everybody feeling right now?
That was not
That's my
good.
thing.
We need to get him out. For sure. Right now.
Let's all just do a group
do I
action
sense
jump on it
any-
together.
oh, I'm sorry. Do I sense any emotion that isn't us 4?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you would. I'm going to say that will require a roll, though, if you want to gather some information about it, because it is an alien mind that you're dealing with.
Okay. Yeah. What would I do for that?
I think focus would probably make sense. Let's see. Just because you're you trying to focus the use of your powers on an unseen, but you generally have an idea where it is, entity.
Okay.
I think that would make sense. I would say that's risky, reduced effect. Reduced because, like I said, it's not the type of mind you're used to understanding the emotions of.
And there's a chance that me reaching out to feel what it is, it's going to reach back.
Right.
Fun. Let's do it.
Let's just go.
So, is it just the an action roll?
Yeah. One sec. My the dice bot went to sleep again.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I'm going to spend a willpower in order to give myself an extra die
2 willpower.
on the focus. So that's just bad if I did that right.
We have a complete success. All right. Okay. So, on a complete success on this type of emotion reading, you sense sort of you sense an extreme unwillingness, a lack of will. There's nothing driving whatever this entity you've reached out to except obligation. That's the overriding feeling that you get.
Do I feel that whatever this is doing so against its will?
Yeah, I would say so. And I
Um,
think you could ask one more question with a 6.
okay. Do I feel, do I know enough on a complete success if this thing, this entity would be pleasant if it no longer felt obligated to serve?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. In the right situation where it was not obligated. Not in every situation, but in the right situation, yeah.
Could I then possibly use my emotion control to just drop its sense of duty, its sense of obligation to whatever is forcing it down to 0 so that it no longer feels any need to do what it was told?
Yeah, I think there is one thing preventing that fictional situation from
Mhm.
arising, and that
Yeah,
is having someone in the circle. Um, you won't be able to reduce its obligation until there's nobody left in the circle. So, to get into the right situation to do what you want to do, I think you'll need to get Xander out. And then you'll
gotcha.
be in the right situation to be able to control its emotions. Right now, the I can't remember the word I was just using a minute ago. The feeling that it has is like to a supernatural degree. It's being
It's being
commanded to
compelled.
do
Yeah,
it.
it's being compelled to serve.
Yeah, exactly. It is absolutely against its will.
Got
But while there is someone in the circle, it has to complete its duty.
Gotcha. In that case, Bellamy's going to go, there's something doing it, but it doesn't want to. I think that I can make it stop, but we have to clear the circle. I don't know what would happen to poor Xander. Xander, if I tried to do something while he's still inside. Could we get him out? And then I can try? I don't want to hurt anyone.
Is there like a bed in here
Yeah.
with sheets on it?
Yep.
I'm gonna grab a sheet off of the bed, grab one end, and go to the far side of the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to throw the other end to someone else, and then we just run and like scoop Xander up in the sheet and pull him out of the circle
Okay.
as
Let's
we
do
run
it.
past.
Who wants to do that with Sabina?
I'll do it.
Okay. Who wants to lead that group action, and who wants to spend a will, or do you want to just do an action and spend a willpower to assist?
It'll be a two-person thing, or it won't.
Yeah, I think a group action will give you a better effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Works
So
me
are you
fine.
leading, Sabina?
If I lead this, I might not wake up. um, I have 3 willpower left.
Okay.
I have 5, so I'll lead. I only have 1 in
Okay.
spring, though.
I have no spring, so
So
it's
yeah, if
gonna
you
be
want to
fun.
do spring, you'll have very few dice, but I think spring is definitely the best action for giving you the best chance of success.
Okay. That was what I was thinking too, but I'm just
Okay.
sad there's no spring.
Um, would either of you like a Fey bargain or anything like that?
Yes. Give me
Okay.
a Fey bargain. I always
Oh
forget
no,
about
we're both
them.
taking bargains.
Okay. Collateral damage, unintended harm, damage, sacrifice, or lose an item, even if momentarily. Appear to betray a friend or loved one, offend or anger a faction. Start and or tick a troublesome clock. Ooh, I like that one. Get that circle activates up to 5 out of 6. I'll give it to one of you for that.
Okay.
Okay, and then Asha, you want one as well?
hmm
Let's do a suffer harm. You're going to like clip your foot into the circle by accident, and it is going to something is going to sort of jump out of that and try climbing your body.
Okay.
And it's something small, a little hanger on. All right, that will give both of you one extra die, and you could both make spring rolls. Aw, spring rolls. Want a spring roll?
Delicious.
Right. We got a 6 on the first roll, and we got a 6 on the second roll. Sadly, that does not convert to an ace, but very, very good. You guys have a complete success. So, Asha, you feel this burning sensation just sort of start at your foot and work its way up your ankle and into your calf. You take level 1 harm. But then the pain from it seems to just go away pretty quickly. You still, when you see it later, you'll still see there's damage. It's almost like an electrical discharge climbed up your leg, but it doesn't quite feel. You've felt electricity many, many times before, and this doesn't quite feel the same. But it does look kind of the same. It was just sort of reaching up your blood vessels and working its way up your leg.
Those darn underworld lightning strikes.
But Xander, you get a sheet in the face, and then you just feel yourself being tugged, and you go flying out of the circle, and the three of you collapse with Xander safe. And now Bellamy is closest to the circle, and circle activates is now at 5 out of 6 ticks.
Xander sits up and just, that was a lot smarter than what I tried. Wow. Okay. I wasn't thinking. I just kind of went. I appreciate that.
We got your back.
Okay, seeing that the circle is clear, Bellamy's gonna reach, I guess, to their side and pull out their bowling knife.
Okay.
And instead of using fingernails, is going to trace a sigil with the fine knife as they're attempting to drop the sense of duty, the sense of compelled responsibility in this being to the point that it no longer feels obligated to serve whatever deal or whatever it was.
Okay.
I basically want this cosmic thing to go, you know what? Nah, actually.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, what action do you want to use for that?
I would like to use sway. I'm
Okay.
trying to convince this thing, you don't really want to be doing this. You don't want to be here. Somebody told you you want to be here and they don't really know you. You've got better things to do.
Okay.
Just go home, do what it is that you want to do.
Cool.
Think about yourself.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna say risky and reduced effect. I think because it doesn't react well to swaying. Something about it that your character wouldn't be aware of. So I think that makes sense, but it will be reduced effect.
Okay.
Would you like a
do
Fey bargain? Or to spend
Yeah.
willpower for an extra die?
What would happen if I did both? Used willpower for an extra die and took a Fey bargain.
Yeah, you could get +1 die and increased effects that bring you back from reduced to standard effect.
Okay. What bargain
What
did you have in
bargain?
mind, Gavin?
Let's see. I think that it is going to, at least in the short term, use the mental connection that you're sort of forging with it as a conduit. It's going to kind of ride you. Not permanently, but it's going to sort of stick in your mind a little bit. That like emotional part of the brain. It's just going to kind of some bit of it is going to live in there with you for a while.
It's made an attachment, and he's going home with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm taking somebody home tonight. All right. Yeah, let's do it. I'll mark the willpower, and then where's Fey bargain?
I
Tactics.
think it's called Pacts.
Pact.
Near
Gotcha,
the center
gotcha.
of the sheet. On the second
Yeah.
sheet. Okay.
Right next to the Fey fruit.
Yep.
So what do I do there? Just mark something there and
Yeah,
fill it
just
out, or
mark
have
the
to?
first box there.
Okay. And then I marked the willpower
Yep.
to give me an extra dice, which brings me up to 3 sway.
Yes.
And am I doing anything else between just the exclamation point and the 3?
That's it. It's for all the marbles. That is a
pressure.
complete success.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh
So
my god.
now that Xander is out of the circle and you are saying, "Be free," whatever you are, don't focus on your obligations. Do something for yourself. Don't do it because you're obligated. And that's when it says, "You know what? I will do something for myself," and that's why it attaches itself to the emotional center of your brain. But otherwise, the whirlwind goes away, and just before the circle finishes burning, it completely unlights itself, and chunks of the sigil that had been burned by Ash's lightning start to cave in and sort of fall into the floor and into the subfloor. But luckily, it doesn't like completely collapse into the floor below. But the symbol seems to be destroyed for purposes of doing any future magic with it. It has been broken. So you don't have to worry about the circle activating anymore. And yeah, you guys seem to be free and clear, aside from the fact that there is a discernible amount of smoke coming out through the open window that the two of you entered through. Xander and
It's
Bellamy.
fine. It's a college building. They're just trying to cook.
So you hear an Obsidian Council fire engine barreling down the road, sirens on, coming toward the building that you're in.
I have a very bad idea.
Excellent. Let's hear it.
Lean out the window, holding the dirty bong. Like, I'm just smoking.
It's fine.
How
It's
far
medicinal.
away? How far away is the fire engine?
Probably a few blocks, judging by the sound.
Gotcha. Bellamy, recognizing that she has a rider now,
Mm-hmm.
little companion, and seeing that there's no particular danger, is going to reach into her little bag and pull out business cards and just kind of toss 3 of them into the air and be like, "Call me sweetings," and fly out the window.
As you are finishing that endeavor and you step toward the window to fly out, you feel this weird tug sort of on your head that sort of stalls you out before you make it out the window. And you can tell that sense of obligation is starting to come back. And you can hear the voice of what sounds like a young woman who is incanting in horrible Latin a spell to summon a demon. And you now feel somewhat compelled to answer that call. That's
Oh,
where we're
no.
going to stop.
A dark
Hmm.
empath is the last thing we need.
An empath with a demon inside of them that feels compelled to answer the summons of anyone who knows the right ritual.
I was like, he doesn't do being lied to because he's the father of lies.
Yeah, the demons are very, very used to being lied to, and so they don't handle being swayed very well. A good consort, sometimes. A good command, that's what really gets them.
I did something horrible.
You haven't done it yet.
I've
yeah.
given the Lore Weaver the opportunity to do something horrible to me,
Yes.
which is basically the same thing, and I'm for it.
That is why we talk about this game being consent based. It really is, and I hope that came across today. Whenever you suffer consequences, you are the one that's in charge of deciding whether you want to resist them or not. If you resist them, you are automatically successful. But it might cost a variable amount of willpower. So, yeah, there's a give and take, but it's all about what you decide to accept. And if you didn't feel good about how that ended up, then we could talk about it. Maybe make it less of a story point later. But I think that for the future, if this were to go anywhere else, I think for the future, your character has an interesting ability to understand the mind of a demon and the things that, especially the emotions that go through it. That's the side of a demon that you rarely see in anything. You're tapped into its
They're
emotional.
speaking their little words.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining an internal struggle scene where it's Bellamy and this demon, and they're sitting in a white room, and Bellamy just goes, "So tell me how you're feeling now."
I'm
demons
feeling
get their
like eating your face. But yeah, I'm just hungry. I need a Snickers.
That's all.
Yes. Storm Raven wants to know: will Bellamy become demonic Mary Poppins now?
I mean, I'm not convinced that Mary Poppins wasn't some form of fae or demon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
We've been going
That's-
back and forth throughout the last 2 years of playtesting this game and deciding whether the Mary Poppins does need to be a grimoire in the game or not.
Who knows? All I know is that if given the opportunity, I'm 100% playing Bellamy again.
Nice.
Yeah,
They are
these
too
were
much fun.
fun characters. I like them.
I very much enjoyed running this short game for you guys. I wanted us to look at our character sheets and just do a little going over the way you gain experience in this game, because it's it's a relatively large part of how the story continues to move forward. So if you'll pop open your character sheets, your grimoire sheets, to the very first page, on the lower left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of experience point triggers. Let's start with Izza, and just go over your first experience trigger. That is going to be different on Izza's sheet versus the rest of you. Those two bubbles that are filled in, what do they say for Asha?
So for me, it asks, address a tough challenge with elemental prowess or quick action. Now you can get 1 XP or 2 if it happened multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I did both several times throughout this entire session.
Yeah, elemental prowess, electricity, That was a butt saver at the beginning, and even though the last one didn't quite work out the way you expected, that circle would not have been so easily destroyed at the end if you hadn't already done a significant amount of damage to it. So one of the fun parts about this is not the part where the lore weaver gets to say, yeah, you get 2 experience for that, or no, you only get 1, or I don't think that even counts, you shouldn't get any for that. This part is fun because the players get to decide who gets what, and nobody loses out because another person got more. But it's something that the players get to decide. And there's one other thing about it that we do, and that is if you, let's say you took an action during the session, and you didn't do it for a particular reason, like you didn't do the action because you're a gob, you were just going to do it anyway. But if you, at the end of the session, decide, you know what, I think my character did that because they're a gob, because they're smaller than everybody else, they realized they'd be able to get into that tight space. Well, even though you didn't say it at the time, recontextualizing the action for the group is worth experience points. So you'll see one of those experience triggers is, did you act according to your heritage? So every time one of the Medians tried to blend in with mundanes, experience. Every time one of the gobs tried to yell for David. Yeah. Are you muted now?
I hit the mute button.
Oh, maybe I could just hear you through the wall. We are one wall separated.
Can you close my door? Kids are really loud. I know. Yeah, sorry. The kids left my room door open when they took the chickens out, and
Yeah.
so now they're just screaming in their living room, and they're very loud.
Yeah. So all I was trying to get across there is recontextualizing your actions to tell us more about your character. That's exactly what we want to see. So that's going to get you more experience, never less. So feel free to think about the stuff you did and figure out maybe your aspect played into it and you just didn't realize it at the time. By adding something to the game world, that is to me how you gain experience. You make the game world a richer place. So awesome. Yeah, I absolutely think Asha deserves 2 XP for that one. And that's without even getting to the other one. Now, once you have that first line, you can get 0, 1, or 2 experience for that line. And then you move on to the next line. And it doesn't matter how many things it has, as long as you do any 2 of them, you get 2 experience for that line. And then once you've got 2 there, you move on to the next line. That's how you do experience. It's really fast, it's really player directed, and players are also in charge of saying, you'll get players, and this happens to Morningstar a lot, where he'll say, I don't think I gained any experience that session for this or that. And everybody will be like, oh, no. When you commanded, that Red Watch Guard, that absolutely was XYZ that fits with your character. So sometimes the player doesn't even see what they did, that they were playing their character in a really great way. In my opinion, you guys all maxed out XP. Like, that was fantastic. We learned a lot about your characters. We learned all your different styles of infiltrating places. We learned the way some of you fly. We learned about some of your familiars. All that stuff is great stuff. And then as the game goes on, we learn more and more and more. And we deepen the world. Right now, you guys know a little bit about the Obsidian Council. You know a little bit about the Red Watch. But you don't know anything about the other 20 factions in the game, and that's perfectly fine. When you start out a game, even after you make a coven, you're only going to have 4 factions that your characters have ever really interacted with in any major way. So I figured 2 for a one-shot is not too bad. But yeah, how did the 2 new players feel about this type of game? Let's start with Darius.
I'm feeling this one a lot. I like it. It's I I always have this thing where like as I'm reading the rules out, it always sounds like it's so much more than what goes on.
Mhm.
And it was I guess calming as it was going on. It's oh, so just these roles for this role for that. Like it's always the actual play that helps me kind of come to grips with
Yeah,
things a lot better than just reading it out. Uh,
absolutely.
I liked the space for character moments, and I liked the really interesting I guess combat. I guess
Yeah, yeah,
something like I don't know if that, but like I mean, it was a really interesting I guess altercation.
yeah.
It was just it was a lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
Some groups will go 10 sessions without having like a combat. Um, we did a 1930s game and they were brawling with a
Oh, that
bunch of
all the time.
Fae almost instantly. But yeah, it's very different from one group to the next, and this was more of a mystery, and so the combat was more of just an altercation. But yeah, it's awesome because you don't have tools that are combat focused and then tools that are non-combat focused. Everything can be used anytime. So it's great, especially the way Bellamy avoided any kind of major confrontation with all the guards at the beginning. That was fantastic, and then everybody else jumping in to help resolve those consequences, and basically got you guys back to a clear slate. Like that's a rarity. That almost never happens. So that I thought that was really cool.
I wanted to create a character who was designed to get us in places, past people. Um, and then the first problem was that we needed to get into a place past people.
It
Yes.
all works out.
And then the
Just
first
like in the
roll was a
simulations.
massive failure.
And then, well,
Eh,
Yeah, but that's fine.
it's not
everything
always
worked out.
perfect, you know.
No,
It worked out.
Everything's fine with zero consequences and nothing that's going to come bite us in the ass later.
right. And the
I
great
call
thing
this an
about
absolute win, personally.
yeah,
Mhm.
and these Fey bargains are super fun. Some of them they just have an instant effect and they're gone. Other Fey bargains will stick with your character. This might become a huge part of Bellamy going forward. It might not be something they're ever even interested in getting rid of. And it's not
I mean, I like
something that any of us could have predicted ahead of time. I wasn't even set on it being a demon. Um, but it just felt right at the time.
You
Um,
said sulfur. It was a demon.
that's what I mean. That was my final. Okay, it's a demon, but
Fine, we'll do it.
yeah,
I think one of my favorite things about this particular system is how I guess how safe I feel trying things because I know that in the end there's a lot of mechanical cushion, um, up to and including just going, no, I'm not okay with that happening to my
Mhm.
character. I'm not okay with losing the agency of my character in this moment.
yeah,
And just the fact that I never felt that, not necessarily that I wasn't going to succeed, because there was always the real chance
right,
of failure, but I never felt that anything that was going to happen wasn't fair. And so I didn't feel controlled by the system. I definitely felt that I was controlling the system.
yeah,
And so having the agency to play a character like Bellamy, who is just kind of a, why don't we do this? Was a whole lot of fun because I knew that the system would be okay with me going, what if I just walked up to them and said, I'm supposed to be here?
right, yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
love those moments because they're especially vulnerable to the fun Fey bargains. We had a character in a space game called Scum and Villainy that was literally like, I'm going to go up to these space pirates and just show them that I'm as much of a badass as they are. But I think I should probably get an extra die. I think I should probably take bargain. And I said, well, how about this? You have to take, because the character sheets have all this gear, and one of the gear items for that character was a satchel full of drugs. And I said, you have to open up your satchel and lay out all your drugs in front of these guys to show them how much of a badass you are. And her character decided to do it. The funny thing is, it worked great on the pirates. The rest of the group was like, holy shit,
my
this
God.
is who we've been sharing our ship with?
Hey, wait a second. Whoa.
So it was great. It's completely unintentional, and they agreed to it. And yeah, I wasn't trying to trick them or anything, but it just felt like the right response. And it was very player driven. It wasn't my idea.
No,
and I just love that about bargains.
I think you obviously you've been dealing with this system for the whole time, and so to I guess brag on you, Gavin. I think you did an exceptional job of both handling my inexperience at the very least, and kind of walking me through the things it needed to do. But even when you were going over things with the experienced players, it felt like that was just the natural thing, is that
Yeah.
everything was discussion focused. But also the this makes sense story turns the thing took were just incredible. It makes sense that if a demon suddenly went, what do I want to do? You know,
Yeah.
instead of obeying a bunch of snot-nosed teenagers, how about this fun creature right in front of me? Let's have an adventure. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so the amount of, well, it makes sense that this would happen.
Well,
That was fantastic. Thank you.
it couldn't have happened without you being willing to take that bargain. So, pat yourself on the back too. And same goes with all of you. With all of this, it happened because you all made it happen. Like, I feel like in these games, the Lore Weaver gets too much credit because I'm literally facilitating it, and I am literally your biggest cheerleader. I want to see you guys succeed. Now, not so much that I'm breaking any rules or anything, but I want to see you succeed. And when you come up with an interesting idea about how you want to go about something, I can't wait to see that happen and see do we roll 3 threes? Do we roll 2 sixes? Or anything in between. Whatever we roll, it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, I think that's a real strength of the system. The magic is super fun, and you can go as deep into it or as surface as you want. But yeah, the Forged in the Dark system that is the basis of it really gave us a ton of tools to play with.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, again, thank you all so much. This is day 1 of our 3 days of pre-Kickstarter festivities. Tomorrow, Andrea will be lore weaving her first Witches of Midnight
wasn't that
actual
crazy?
play. Yeah, I know. It's been a little over 2 years, and this will be her first time. So yeah, we're both really excited. I'm going to be a player in that game. And we welcome any of you back in the future. We have a lot of other people on the Discord that might want to play, but we will definitely keep all of you in mind if we do another session. Of course, it will probably be a different character because the other sessions have a very different pitches. Yeah. Looking forward to that. So tomorrow it's Andrea lore weaving, and then on Wednesday it is the Kickstarter kickoff. So we will be getting together on our Discord at 11:30 Eastern AM because the Kickstarter officially starts at noon. So anybody who pledges at a physical tier between noon Wednesday and noon Thursday, we'll get an enamel pin that has this Powered by Witchcraft logo that you see in the center of the screen on it for free with your backing. So we appreciate everybody that has been here. Oh yes, and Robot Rainbows is in chat. Robot Rainbows is the one that is doing the entire tarot deck. And they have almost finished 2 cards in the last week. So I can't wait to show those off.
Exciting.
But
They have
yeah.
done so well on those cards.
Yeah.
I
I'm so
know,
excited.
they're amazing.
All right. Well, let everybody, I'll let all of you tell people where they can find you if you want to be found. And I will pick up a link to our Discord while you guys are doing that. Let's start with Andrea.
Yeah, I am Andrea. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wildwood Witch. I'm a lot more active on Instagram than I am on Twitter. So, but it's all chickens right now. So yeah, that's where you can find me if you want to.
All right. Darius?
Darius Prince. You can find me on Twitter. I don't say much. I just kind of retweet the most random shit post you've ever seen. But if that's something that interests you, that's Afrosama29 at Twitter. AFROSAMA number 2 number 9.
Awesome. Issa?
I'm Isabel O'Donnell, an author and community moderator for Walls Ultimate Games. You can find me really on Twitter, TikTok at Isa_Belladonna, and everywhere else at Isa Belladonna. So yeah.
Reverend? Do you want to be perceived? Do not perceive me.
I wish to be perceived as vaguely threatening and kind of hot. I don't really have a lot of an online presence. So you can find me here in the Discord or in the Twitch chats. I'm active both in the Balsamic Games as well as Morning Stars if everyone is a fan. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. And we look forward to hopefully seeing all of you again in a future game as we move toward this Kickstarter and try not to have a physical reaction to the stress.
Bellamy lowers your stress levels.
Awesome. Well,
You're doing fine.
thank you all again, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for Andrea's session. Have a great night.